Welcome to My Love of Life Energy. I'm Anna Scott, your host. I love beautiful, rich conversations that reveal the truth, beauty, and uniqueness of each person I meet, and I'm honored to share them with you. Good morning and good afternoon, and welcome to my podcast, My Love of Life Energy. And I'm so excited. I have Anne Scharlow back, and Anne did one podcast with me, and I liked her so much. I'm like, would you come back and we'll talk again and we'll talk about different things. So welcome, Anne.
Thank you for having me again. So
Oh,
awesome.
so the reason that I said, would you do this is that it was originally because you made a massive career change and people are miserable in their jobs. They're just not enjoying them. And I just think that's sad. Like life is such a gift. Why not enjoy your work? And you made a change. And I just wanted to explore that and see where this goes because I want people to enjoy their life, enjoy their work.
Yeah. Okay.
So what did you do before and what are you doing now? And then let's see where this goes.
Okay. So I almost call it the two lives because it couldn't be more different, but also they have a connection, of course. So in my former life, so that means like, after studies up to age of 38-ish, I was a director of a digital agency. So it was all about data and insights, website performance, data analysis, user behavior. So very number driven. Agency work, of course, comes with lots of pressure, lots of deadlines, travel, smartness, of course, as well, like intellectual challenges, the pride, the word success, all of those things. And then in my second life, which started around my midlife years, I became an animal communicator and healer and spiritual guide. So no data, just intuition. So that's pretty much the biggest change. No data, which is uncomfortable to my mind to this day, but the intuition is strong. So yeah, so that's the two lives, basically.
So what made you take the leap?
It was definitely a time frame of, I suppose, maturing into adulthood, I guess. Because I feel, when you're in your 20s or you come out of university, you kind of get hyped up into this world. And by that time, I didn't want to be an animal communicator. I didn't probably even believe that works or, has a standing in this world. It was just like, you do your thing. And I went study and then I got my first job and I moved to South Africa. And, stress was immense, but also I was always happy to be intellectually challenged or be called smart or something, and I know my parents appreciated that I did a good job and earned good money. And it becomes about that for a while. For me, it became about that until the stress levels were at a point where the dissatisfaction kept in more and more and more. And I have a chronic migraine on my side, and that didn't get better under pressure. And in the end, you find yourself in between meetings, pressure, deadlines, and taking a lot of painkillers or being in bed, having to apologize, being constantly behind on your inbox. Like the real pressure of what many people, I think, to this day, maybe think is normal. And the word busy, I'm so busy, is kind of like a flashy thing to say. No time for lunch, it's just more coffee, like the works, what seems to be normal in this world. And at some point, my body crashed and I had to find a different way. And that wasn't pleasant. So it was never a, sit around the fire, have a nice idea, kind of go for it with endless money in the back, change is not comfortable. It is like a breakdown to breakthrough type of scenario. For me, it was. Where I just felt at some stage, first of all, the first thought was like, money can be earned easier. I'm good at this. Why is it so hard? So there has to be an easier way. which, you know, is not a thought many people entertain because it's all work hard, play hard. So can the ease come in? And the first step I did is why I went self-employed, was what I knew I do. I just said, I'm going to resign. I'm going to give myself 3 months and I'm going to do this in my own capacity and not as part of an agency. And that was great. And I had great support. My old boss, he, you know, gave me projects and he kept me kind of as part of the team, but as a self-employed person. And that was amazing. But then obviously the same mindset crept into that business as well, because now I still wanted to perform, still thought self-worth is dependent on, you know, how I perform, how much money I make, and so on. So I broke down again. Not surprisingly, my body broke down again. And then came the deeper questions of, well, do I actually want to do this for the rest of my life? And the answer was clearly no. And that was almost like, you know, you wake up one morning and you have the clarity and, you know, you struggle for a while and one day you feel it. And then I watched the steps. By that time, I already had spirituality in my life that helps, you know, to stay present to the opportunities and look for different things.
When you say spirituality, because that's in my coaching, I'm always like bringing that in. Like there's something bigger than just this material world. What's spirituality to you?
Well, for now, it's now it's obviously different than it was at the time when I was, you know, changing career. Spirituality literally consisted of my healer I saw, because, you know, no one in the traditional medical world can help you with migraines. I mean, they just have more pills for you, right? There's no healing. So I went to see alternative people, and one of them was my healer Andre, who called it a calling sickness into my true initiation, you know. And then I kind of read up about this a little bit, but I had basically this healer on my side who explained the world a little bit differently. But also spirituality at the time for me meant having angel cards and asking someone else at the time, you know, just putting out these cards and just trusting, but then also receiving these messages of literally, you know, where one card said, please quit your job. And you draw it over and over again. And then you're like, well, that can't be coincidence, right? So you kind of just like go with it because it's an inner feeling of suddenly something articulating what you already know. And stepping into that. So that was spirituality at the time, literally asking angel cards and this guy.
And what's it to you now? What's it to you now?
Oh gosh, now it's the foundation of what my life is built on. It's the trust, it's the flow, it's knowing that everything happens always at the right time, everything is for me. It's the deep leaning into that life is for me. And, you know, the challenges as well as the pleasures are part of it. And it's exploring that, you know, and not shutting down when something happens. So it's less flashy, but it's more substantial, I feel. Spirituality.
God, that's so beautiful. I love that. Your description.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm saying is I think that I agree. Can you talk more about the, what Andre, I think that's what you said, the sickness, the soul sickness or the calling sickness. Can you describe more about that? Because I think that that's really true for people. Like if they don't listen to what's going on in their heart, their bodies will start working on their behalf.
Yeah.
Like life is like, no, we need to change this now.
Yes.
Will you please start listening?
I kind of, you know, as we agreed that we're going to do this podcast again, I obviously brought these topics back into my life and contemplated them a little bit. You know, what was the career change like and so on. And what I kind of saw is almost like your soul agrees to have a life path. And obviously life is a little bit of a riddle. So I kind of see that picture of I agreed to start off on the left and I have to go to the right. You know, the left being like the very, the world I started off in.
Yeah, the intellectual, I would say the masculine.
Yes, the intellectual. And then I have to kind of find this other part of me. And they both belong to me, of course. And then it's almost like, well, how do we make sure you don't get lost in that world? Because the pull is very strong. And, I'm also someone who gives 100% all the times. So how do we make sure you don't really get lost and just meander down this road all the time? And then I felt the migraine was given to me as an ally to kind of always interfere when I was pulled too much into that world. And she kind of always, so whenever I was somewhere successful, and that's like exclamation marks now, or a big payout was about to happen, I was knocked out. I could never finish big jobs, to the point of then the big money coming in and maybe even taking on more work. I was always knocked out and then in bed, and I'm like, why can't I pull through with this? But when you have a migraine, I don't know if any of the listeners explore that, but you are really knocked out to a point of sometimes even having visions or the courage to really change something because you're so miserable, you can't imagine just going back to that life. And that provided then the fuel for, it needs to be different. I want to be different. In the beginning, it was, I want to be healthy. I don't want to feel that. And then it changed to really asking that migraine, like, what do you want? Why am I constantly in bed? What am I doing wrong? And then obviously stress levels comes up, and resting and trusting and how tight you hold onto life. So I think this is what he meant by calling sickness. It's an ally on your path, in that case, working with the body to pull you in the right direction. But it's a pull, it's not a gentle nudge. It's like a flipping pull, and you're bashed with you're bashed. And she's still on my path. I call her, she's female now. She's no longer that beast. This ally is still on my path, but she has shifted and she's changed. But she does pop up whenever I overdo it, or the old mindset creeps in, or I need a break. So it's a beautiful ally to have. Otherwise, I would have gotten lost in the other world, which I suppose if you don't know what else is there is okay. But, I'm very glad I didn't get lost. So I appreciate having that condition on my side as a teacher.
Well, as a guide.
As a guide. And yeah, and she's kind of ruthless, but also the mission is big. Like, it's not an easy task not to fall back into the old patterns.
Well, there's a lot of pull in our culture to go there.
Yeah.
And what you're pointing to is you're not making this sickness wrong and to get rid of, you're including her.
Yeah.
Or these conditions, like you're relaxing with it, with her.
Yes.
Making her a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I've never heard that, a sickness calling. Is that what you called it?
Calling sickness, yes.
Mine was, I couldn't, I had a little kid and I had a young toddler, and I would work, come home at 6, be with him till like 8 or 9, and then work till midnight 1, and my back went out and I couldn't walk. And that's when I realized I had to change. I couldn't, like my body wasn't willing to do what I was willing to do anymore.
Yeah. What a gift.
Like,
I mean,
like
scary.
that wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not being able to walk. Yeah. But there was wisdom in it.
Yeah. There's wisdom.
And I think that is like what you're offering and inviting people to, is to pay attention to their illness to see what it's calling for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a way to do work that doesn't have the stress.
Yes.
Do you see that now?
I do. Not all the time. Not all the time. But there's definitely these patches. But then I always have to be careful that my mind doesn't get in the way and think, is that too easy? You're actually having a good time. Is that allowed? I'm like, I think it is, so that's always interesting how that creeps up. And I know obviously better, right? But it does creep up.
Well, it's like work, like that changes the paradigm of work and the pictures of work.
Yeah.
Like, can work be enjoyable? Can work
Yes.
be relaxing? Can it be fun? I mean, because you have fun doing your work now,
Yeah,
right? Is
I
that
do.
true?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But is it the work or is it who you are in it that's changed?
Definitely the second one.
Who you are in it.
Yes.
And who have you become? Like, who have you had to become to do this other work as an animal communicator?
A very different being.
Can you highlight? Like, I'm really curious because that's my point, is that it's not so much the work. It is and it isn't. Like, I think we're called to things and that we're meant to do things.
Yeah.
Like, I am not supposed to be somebody's admin. Like, I know that we will both be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
But who you've become has changed, and who have you become, and what are the qualities of how you work now?
So, I mean, I think what really puts it in if I compare the two ones, so, you know, in the digital agency, I would go into a client meeting with 100 slides of PowerPoint presentations, you know, practice to the T, making sure I know my thing. You know, it's like a mini TED talk, basically. And you had to convince. And that is stressful, right? And now I go into a session with just a photo, not knowing who the person is, what their questions are, what's going to happen. In the beginning, that was stressful, right? Because I didn't have 100 slides. So the person I had to become was someone who trusts her skill enough to just show up. You know, the Zoom thing opens and then you're in for the ride, and it's a different ride all the time. So what I had to cultivate was really trusting that intuition. And of course you practice that, right? I didn't go into clients straight away. So you show up and you practice, but it's a very different skill to show up with nothing and know that you have everything you need.
Yes.
You know, instead of thinking, I have 100 slides, I'm hoping I'm missing not the 101, you know, because that was that world. So you fundamental change in how you see the world, actually. And showing up with nothing is so much more relaxing. Oh my God, you know, which if I tell that my old self, she would be like, you're insane. You know, how can you just wing it? So, you know, my mom would always say to me, nothing comes from nothing. And then I had to learn through this life path that everything comes from nothingness, you know, and it's not the laziness of nothing, right? It's like everything comes out of the nothingness. And I think that's the riddle of my life. And that migraine was basically like getting me there. You know, that's the riddle I signed up for, my soul. Like, can you figure this out? Yeah, cool. That sounds great. I'm going to do this, you know?
There's such a beauty.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing, and this is what I truly believe, is that the more we're relaxed and we understand how energy works, you know, that's my thing. I laughed. I forgot that I named this podcast My Love of Life Energy. I totally forgot that I had named it. And I love energy. But like the more you relax, you can hear the wisdom that's coming from the nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just trusting it as it rises.
Yeah.
And then you get to have fun. It's like a new present every time it comes up, it seems.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't know what it's going to be.
And it's always different. And, you know, you wonder after like 400 or 500 clients, is it not going to repeat itself? It doesn't. How refreshing, amazing. You know? Do you know how often I presented the same PowerPoint presentation over and over again? I mean, you've perfected, but boy, it's boring. and there the scenario is always different. It's refreshing.
Well, it feels like, to me, it feels like you were living in a pot, or like because you work with horses, like you were in a stall and you just have been released into the pasture of life.
Mm.
But if we
Absolutely.
don't know that there is this energy that is taking care of us and it's working for us, it's on our behalf, the stall looks really safe.
Yeah.
It looks
does.
like the wise thing.
Gosh, but once you look out the window, hey, and you see that pasture, the stall is no longer that appealing.
Mm. Mm. What would you, somebody who wants to make a career change, what would you advise them?
I would look, the picture for me is always the Red Riding Hood. You're somewhere in a forest and keep looking for the little breadcrumbs, like for a path you can kind of recognize. And then be courageous enough to take the little path and not the highway. Like find the things which bring joy and where you're also really good at. And are they allowed to be easy? Like, is it aligning easily, or is it constantly a fight? So I would go for more of the joyful things. And for me, that meant the first step was making more time in my first career for the things I do enjoy. And then they took more, they took more and more time. And then I prioritized energy differently. It wasn't like a matter of today I quit and tomorrow I do something else. It was a transition of 5, 6, 7 years of just carving out more and more and more time for the things I'm actually really good at and enjoy. And then that led to the new path. Instead of like, I never went for a hardcore life coaching of, here are the 10 steps so you can change your career. It's 100 little steps to change your career, I feel. In my case, that can, of course, be very individual.
Well, I think that what I would say is that you learned how to listen to yourself and follow your path. And that's the thing about life, is we're all unique. My path is different than your path. Your path is different than yours. And that's what we're supposed to bring, is our uniqueness.
Yes.
Our own gifts. And to do that, you have to find your path, which you did and you honored beautifully.
And the path will feel joyful.
Yeah.
The right one. It won't be a mission. It might be a bit daunting because it's new or new territory, but there is energy available for it, coming back to our energy topic. You don't feel like you're running against the wall. You feel like you're flying a little bit each time you take the step in the right direction.
Mm.
And to notice that, notice that energy shift in yourself, like what do I like doing? And kind of making space for that. And that's the discipline then, I suppose, because the pull is strong.
I think I think what I see is that we've forgotten to trust what we love and what's in our heart.
Yeah.
That it's viable. And what we love, we forgot the power of that love. But I've been around somebody who was so angry and they were making a burrito and she was making my burrito and that food sucked. And then I've been around somebody who pours their heart. Like I have a client who brings me this loaf of bread and it's the best bread because of all of his love that he pours into it. I swear to God, it is the best bread. Mm-hmm. Can we trust and open up what we love? And I know you love working with animals.
I do.
And they love working with you. Oh, that just came through. I just felt that.
Oh, thank you.
It's like they have somebody goes, oh, somebody sees us. We've got an ally.
Yeah. But Anna, what I have to say is, one of the biggest gifts of that old life is I can relate to most of the people, who are under this level of stress. And that's so valuable, to know what that stress feels like. And that I didn't grow up drinking chamomile tea, being super chilled, and then you just don't know what everyone else is talking about. It is an absolute gift knowing what it's like. And often as an animal communicator, I have to say, it also gives me credibility, because people are like, oh, so you used to do that. Okay, well, okay, sure. And then they kind of listen to the rest of you. And that's always beautiful, especially for the women who are still in high-end careers, who kind of want to get out, and then they kind of see it embodied, that you can shift and you can do it differently. So coming back to the life path of what we sign up for, I think it was brilliant, to start off in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what you said, because it does give credibility.
It
you
does.
know what it's like. My
Yes.
teacher would say, we learn by contrast.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but also in the end, I think we can't miss it. If we really need to make a change, because it's part of our soul's evolution, our plan, whatever helps us on the way, be it the sickness, the fates, whatever comes in, will be so strong. We can't miss it.
Yeah.
We can resist it for a while, and then it becomes hard, but I think we can't miss it.
No, I know that life, if we're supposed to change, it'll get really loud.
Yes.
And the goal is to listen sooner.
Yes. Yes.
Let go sooner.
Yes, exactly. That would be the wise part then, right? Listening immediately.
Mm-hmm. And this has been beautiful. I can't thank you enough. I always love our conversations.
Thank you for that exchange. It's so, I also find it so valuable exchanging with you, Anna. Thank you.
My own. And for anybody who's listening, if you know somebody who's looking to make a career change or is struggling in their career and wants to do it different, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to have a conversation. Thank you.